What's up, Bears fans, Chicago Bears fans? This is Coach C with Chicago Bears 360. Back with a live update for you. Listen, the Chicago Bears have tapped their defensive coordinator, hired Eric Washington. I can't talk this morning, man. What's up with that? Eric Washington, a little bit frazzled. Eric Washington tapped as the Bears defensive coordinator. Let's talk about it this morning, man. Let's dig into his background a little bit and so much more. Y'all know the intro. Cue it up, Maestro. Let's go. Contra.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I feel my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
And that's right, Bears fans. I'm back. We're back. The Bears have tapped or tagged their future defensive coordinator, Eric Washington, formerly of the Buffalo Bills, to be the defensive coordinator in Chicago. How we feeling about that? Let me know in the chat. Listen, we're going to dig into his background a little bit and figure out, exactly what it is and who it is we're getting as a defensive coordinator in Eric Washington. I keep looking down, man, because I'm trying to make sure everything is aligned here. I had to rush down and do the camera setup, the whole nine, just so we can bring this news. So I want to talk to y'all this morning about this defensive coordinator hire. I was trying to think of content anyway. So the Bears coming through with the fresh content, the fresh news, and we're excited to dive into the future of the Chicago Bears. So this is the second of such coordinator hires within the last 2 weeks, right? So last week we made the big change in tapping Shane Waldron to be the offensive coordinator. Now Eric Washington. So this Bears staff already going into the 2024-2025 season is already, from a coaching perspective, is going to look a lot different than what it did coming in last year, where we had two, you can't really call the former defensive coordinator, Williams, a first-time defensive coordinator because he had experience coordinating in Minnesota before, I believe. But last time we had two first-time defensive coordinators in Alan Williams and Luke Getsy. Now Shane Waldron coming in, obviously having had a previous stop in Seattle, and actually was largely regarded as a head coaching candidate, up through probably towards 3/4 of last season or this season we're in now. And then now Eric Washington, probably a name that came out of nowhere from a defensive coordinator perspective. I think we were all looking at veteran defensive coordinators, the Leslie Frazier's, the typical names that come through. Ryan Rivera had been fired in Washington, so Bears fans are potentially looking at Ron Rivera as a candidate. Some other names bounced around, but usually that's how the defensive coordinator hires goes. It usually is some guy that, everybody knows or that has a reputation for, building good defenses, building great defenses. And in this situation, with the offensive coordinators, usually, it's that young, innovative mind. But early on in the season, I said this, for both coordinator positions, I was looking for us to get veteran coordinators to bring a little bit of stability to the Bears organization. I don't think from either coordinator position, tapping these young gun offensive coordinators should be part of our plan, because there's a coaching crisis currently in the NFL right now. This vacuum of hiring, offensive young hipster offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators to run your football team as a head coach has created a vacuum of good coaches in the league, right? And so I'm not surprised to see some of these other guys get an opportunity. Some of these guys that hadn't had some opportunities to be in those coordinators positions to get an opportunity. So excited about this one, I think. So we'll tap into it real fast. I want to share some information with you so you guys can get like, a good perspective of, what we're working with in terms of, in terms of experience, things of that nature, right? Because I think that's important for us to, pay close attention to. Let me see how this thing is going to work. No, not like that. All right, cool. We'll just have to go manual way with it and take a look at the resume. I thought I had some slides loaded up, but it's not working out the way I wanted it to. See, this is what happens when you try and rush and bring you guys hot content, but we just gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way, man. And kind of share screen and look at the resume together via our friend Google, if you will. But just take a look at the resume and let's talk about it. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Again, Eric Washington, currently or now the defensive coordinator for Chicago. Shout out to Wikipedia being quick on the update. And formerly the defensive assistant head coach and defensive line coach at the Buffalo Bills. Prior to that, senior defensive assistant, D-line coach with the Buffalo Bills, D-line coach, Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator. So he has been the defensive coordinator before. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look at that 2018-2019 season to see how he did. Well, I could tell you the first indicator there is it was only one season. Now, I don't know if there's a transition season or do we take a whole lot of stock in the Carolina Panthers altogether? Because let's face it, man, that whole organization, we talk about our organization, they've been, quite a bit of a shit show over the last forever. You know what I'm saying? In terms of timeline. So, yeah, it's up to you how much stock you want to put into, whatever time he spent at Carolina. Chicago Bears defensive line coach, Chicago Bears defensive assistant, Northwestern, Ohio, and Texas A&M. Now, I've already had somebody reach out to me on Twitter when this name first came up, and he talked about the Northwestern experience. He mentioned that Eric had, he knew some players or people had played for Eric. It wasn't the most positive reaction, but I don't tend to lean on kind of one-off opinions of who people are. Again, this is a great opportunity for a lot of these coaches with so many veteran coaches starting to leave the league and being pushed out of the league, that we get this guy in here. So I like that he's a veteran coach. Again, he's had experience in the league, and he's put his work in, he's put his time in. So the only thing else we look at, right, we look at to what he did in Buffalo as a recent, right? You look at the players that he coached, kind of the type of talent he's had experience coaching, and start to logically put as his resume, this is this. So when we look at this roster, I'll call out some names and you guys can follow along with me. Some of the people that he's coaching currently in Buffalo or was coaching in terms of D-line, right, having a direct impact on their rotation: Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Von Miller, of course, and on the edge, Greg Russo, right? Shaq Lawson was a part of that group too. Leonard Floyd was a part of that group too. Some of the defensive rankings, I'll go through the stats here real fast for you. Total defense, understand he wasn't the coordinator, but he was the D-line coach, had a part to do with that. Top 10, the Bills defensive line was top 10 in terms of team defense. I think this is pass defense next. Pass defense was number 7, right? So top 10 in pass defense. And the run defense, they were 15th, I believe. Run defense, number 15. So, There's some in scoring defense, number 4. All right. So, either way, whatever it is, I mean, it's not like, this is going to be something that, it's going to light up your TV screen. They're not, bottom defenses that we're bringing in or the experience, but I just want to give you guys a feel for kind of what he did in Buffalo, what he's bringing to the table in terms of a coach. Ultimately, when you get in that room, when he got in that room with Flus, probably Ryan Post, ultimately he should be probably graded on, his philosophy, if it aligns with what Flus does, and I think he does come from based off of the personnel I see there, from a 4-3 system. So that philosophically they have to align. What you like to do with the defensive line. Do you have things in order? Do you have your stunts, your basic core concepts in order? You know what I'm saying? Your defensive fronts, your movement across the line, similar to like offensive when they do shifts and motions. You have to have that stuff in your slants, your stunts, and then it boils down to kind of what he likes to do from a disguising coverages standpoint. Like, does he philosophically align with the core tenets of a Tampa 2 defense? And I know we talk about Tampa 2 all the time in Chicago as that being philosophically Matt Eberflus's core belief. But if you pay attention to how the Chicago Bears play and how we utilize our safeties, Jaquan Brisker spends a lot of time in the box, right? Also, we tend to play Kyler Gordon a lot in the nickel, right? And so, with Kyler Gordon in the game, yeah, you can stay into a core Tampa 2 defense nickel personnel. But with Jaquan Brisker spending so much time in the box, that's either, cover 3 or man coverage or something match because he's playing down in the box. So we're not in a true Tampa 2. I don't know what the percentages are that we are, but a lot of times we're not in a true Tampa 2. We're playing with an 8-man box. So he's going to want to know, Eberflus should want to know kind of philosophically, how do you see our current defensive line? How do you see our personnel? Where do you see the weaknesses are, right? Make sure we align. So when we're going into the draft, we're looking for the right type of people. Also, from a defensive line coach perspective, like, what do you value? You know what I'm saying? Like, we drafted 2 guys, one guy that was 6'4", 3 and some change last season, in Javon Dexter, and then Zach Pickens, one guy was 6'6". I don't remember who's 6'6" and who's 6'4". But either way, we drafted 2 pretty big guys. You know what I'm saying? What do you believe in? Body type, all that other stuff. What do you like in your 1 technique? What do you like in your 3 technique? Even though we play our guys interchangeably, by the way, you never really see those guys kind of flip-flopping sides when offense shows shows the strength of the formation. They just generally like to slide to whatever position. They like to slide their defensive line instead of flop players. A lot of times on defenses, you'll see interior defensive linemen exchange positions because one guy is a true 3 technique and one guy is a true 1 technique. Well, with a lot of these tempo offenses, guys running tempo offenses, meaning no huddle speed offenses, you really can't, you can't be swapping around positions like that all the time, especially when you're doing your, your platoon exchanges and stuff like that. It just makes things confusing. So you see a lot of times with us, you'll see, our defensive line, you'll see a guy that's quote unquote a 3 technique. He'll be playing in the 1 spot and vice versa. So, how does he do that? How does he manage all that stuff? How does he manage, his staff? That's the biggest part. That's another big part of it, right? How do you manage your staff? How do you lead men? And I'm not talking about just the players. How do you lead other coaches? How do you teach other coaches and empower them? One, also, how do you hold them accountable from a position coach perspective to do their job, to perform? It has to be about the details, right? You have to be able to describe to me in the details, what is your philosophy? How do you go about it, right? So I have this thing in business and in football, right? How do you manage people? What are your processes? Meaning, what are your kind of what are your controls? What is your governance? What are your quality gates to make sure we're getting quality out of this? And then last but not least, if you have great people processes, then you're gonna have a great product. So having him describe, how does he manage people, both coaches and players, right? And then what are your processes? How do you get, if you're expecting, gap penetration out of that forefront or, 4-3 overlook or 4-3 underlook, how do you drill that and to make sure it happens in individual drills? How do you make sure you create infrastructure to make sure you're getting the desired result or outcome out of those people, right? How do you drill your linebackers? How do you make sure your DBs are always in their right spots? How do you make sure the defense collectively that they are pursuing to the ball, they're executing to the standard? You know what I'm saying? How does your philosophy align with that, shall I say it, the hits principle? You know what I'm saying, making sure all that stuff aligns and being able to describe it in the detail, and then that's what you go with, right? So if we take a step back real fast, one thing we can say for sure is this. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe Matt Eberflus is on the hot seat coming into the season, but the seat is pretty warm coming into the season. It's not hot, but it's warm, and we can say for sure that eyes will be on him with both the offensive coordinator hire and the defensive coordinator hire. So with the offensive coordinator hires, there's going to be less concern and focus on Shane Waldron, even though, Bears fans are going to be looking at him with the side eye anyway, just because we have Luke Getsy PTSD and Matt Nagy PTSD. But we're going to be watching him closely, especially with the heightened awareness and focus, hyper focus on the quarterback position. But also, Bears fans are going to be looking at, the defensive performance, because, we started out pretty much trash, this season. And the defense got better as Matt Eberflus kind of took over him and Phil Snow, put their stamp or their thumb or their imprint on this defense. How does it take a step back? Does it move forward? Does it progress? Those are all going to be focal points going into next season to make sure we maintain the trend line in terms of this defense, which is trending up. And then also, hyper focus on in-game adjustments, right? Defensive, not just defensive philosophy, but how personnel utilization. Are you gonna blitz, on first down a lot, or are you gonna wait to the obvious third down? Things like that I look at. Like, are you the type of guy that just waits till third down to send pressure, or do you start the series with pressure, right? Are you going to be an attack style defense, or are you going to sit back and play coverage? All that, and having an influence on even our draft, right? Being a voice in the room to say, hey, I like these type of players here. All of that is going to be important. Again, the focus for me from a macro level is Matt Eberflus he doesn't get any more tries with these coordinator positions. He gets no more tries on coordinators. After this season, all of the focus is on him and his ability to be an executive, his ability to coach his coaches, hold them accountable to performing and delivering the results that we need. So I like it. I like the idea that we have fresh blood in here because we weren't happy with the coordinators we had. I'm talking about from a pure coordinator standpoint. We were happy with Matt Eberflus when he took over as defensive coordinator, but as far as Alan Williams and Luke Getsy, it was a total whiff. We cannot deny that on Matt Eberflus. So I'm happy we have veteran guys in there. Again, I'm more skeptical of Eric than I am Shane. Of Shane, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt because of his resume, where he comes from, and what he's done. Now, here's the thing that you can give Eric. this is something that you can credit Eric with, if you're gonna credit him with anything, because this Bills defense, this Bills football team plays hard, right? They play hard. You know, you've seen defense. You know, a lot of the teams play around the league, uh, and you know, a lot of teams don't. You know, they don't have that playoff. Um, they don't have that playoff, you know, speed. You know what I'm saying? You're not you. There's a saying, right? Uh, if you watch the tape on, you know, with the volume off, can you feel how hard a team is playing with the tape, with the audio off? I think the Bills are one of those teams on defense that even when the tape is off, um, you feel them, right? They played, you know, they played in a lot of big games over the last few years. Didn't come out on the winning side of them, unfortunately, but you know, sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, and then you get the leftovers, or you get the morsels or the crumbs of the cookie that broke. And in this case, that's the situation with the Buffalo Bills. So, but at the same time, Sean McDermott was known as a defensive guy. So having the opportunity to sit under Sean McDermott, also having the opportunity to sit under Leslie Frazier, who led that defense last year. Um, you talk about, we always talk about offensive lineage, but we never talk about defensive lineage on our channels, right? So there's a little bit of short history and defensive lineage of philosophy in for Eric Washington right there, if you will, right? So having, you know, again, spend some time with Leslie Frazier, which a lot of us said, who a lot of us said we wanted, and that may have been the way it came about, right? So you have, you know, you might have wanted Leslie Frazier, but Leslie Frazier is like, hey man, I'm out of it. This is a young man's game. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you a name, Eric Washington. He's that guy. You know, he's aligned with what I like to do. You know what I'm saying? I put my stamp of approval on that guy. That's a lot of times how it happens. So, and again, Sean McDermott, you're gonna always find a guy that aligns with you philosophically. So if he hired Leslie and Leslie put his stamp on Eric, and I'm just speculating, then again, that's the way it goes. So, and a lot of times that's how it goes in the coaching world. It's all about relationships. So let me know how you're feeling about Eric Washington in the chat. I'm not gonna try and overhype him as, you know what I'm saying, the next Buddy Ryan or something like that. We don't know that. We don't know what we have on the field until the product shows up. All we can do is look at the people. Again, you start with the people, you know what I'm saying, the 3 P's, the people, the process, and then you'll figure out what the product is going to look like. So try to piece that together logically, and that's how you come up with, you know, whatever it is you want to come up. Hopefully y'all asking questions in the chat, making comment. Let's slide to it. Y'all know the segment, man. Always got to get to the DMs to get some shout outs, and also, you know, have some conversation, some dialogue. So this is all about y'all. Let's do it.
Did you get like some crazy DMs or what?
Very.
Surprises or no?
It's like in like blue check marks.
Yeah, like
People who be sliding, and I'm like, wow, y'all fuck with me like that.
With me like that, man. Thanks for hanging out. This your boy, Coach T with Chicago Bears 360. Do me a favor. If you're watching this on the playback, man, run those likes up. If you're in the comments, if you're watching on the playback, subscribe to the channel, man. And also share, man. I appreciate all of y'all. The word getting out. We had our first Oklahoma drill on Thursday show, man. I thought it was phenomenal. It was a great to see that kind of idea come to fruition. I think it's a great way to settle our dispute in Bears Twitter, Bears social media, wherever you are. So again, if you have somebody that, you know what I'm saying, it could be somebody you got real smoke with, or somebody, you know what I'm saying, y'all just want to have a friendly debate on the live platform, man, reach out to me on Bears X, you know what I'm saying, and we'll hook it up, set it up. I thought it was a good thing. I want to continue to do those as part of the segment, and I want to grow it to the point where it becomes its own show. Yeah, the debate show becomes its own entity, and we can do a separate show, maybe have a different. Hey, man, You know what I'm saying? I like that part, by the way. I like the fact that he's been in Chicago before. I didn't mention that. I didn't talk about that a whole lot. Shout out to Julius for that comment. Yeah, I like the fact that he's been to the city before. He understands. He should have an understanding, especially having been at Northwestern and Chicago. He knows what he's getting into. He knows what the expectations are going to be when you come to Chicago. He knows that the fans, you know what I'm saying, the fans, us, the fans, you know what I'm saying, we're going to be loyal, but we're going to be on your ass. You know what I'm saying? You messing up. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hear about it. Y'all see how quick we ran Luke Getsy out of town. And I say we because we did it for a better part of 2 years. You know what I'm saying? We was on it. You know what I'm saying? I started going in on Luke Getsy. You can go through the archives of the videos, probably halfway through last season or probably a good third into the season. You know what I'm saying? I was already breaking down film saying, man, this dude ain't it. So, hey, buddy, you know, to whom much is given, much is required, bro. We, you know, we gonna be on your heels. That's the bottom line. So I like the fact that step into the situation, he knows what he's getting into, having been at Northwestern and Chicago as a previous stop before. So it's just a kind of return to home. Hopefully that'll come out in the press conference. You get a little bit of time to describe, you know, what he knows or what he remembers about the city and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But understanding what the expectations are in the city is, I think, a positive for him, right? Let me go to another. Coach said, Fat Boy Food Review says, Coach, could you explain the SEMO keep? Oh, could you explain the SEMO keep? Yeah, man. Listen, anybody that follows me know my take on the whole Justin Fields situation, if you will, putting those two things together to say, hey, we're going to continue to run it and run this thing back with Justin Fields because Chris Morgan, philosophically, not just this part, but just speaking to it anyway. He spent time with Kyle Shanahan. He spent time with in Washington and Atlanta. So philosophically, they believe in the same things. But a football thing, the football thing is this. This is the football thing that I'm founding this take on. And my second stop coaching was offensive line. Everything about 60, 70, about 70% of your offense is coming from your O-line coach. Your run game, not just your run game philosophy, what we're doing in your run game. When you don't see a run game coordinator announced, a lot of times that's your offensive line coach, right? So philosophically, what he believes in, that's what we're going to be running in terms of the running games, right? What he believes, understanding he knows the players the best. He knows the engine of this offense the best. He knows the capability of the guys up front, the five guys up front. He knows their weaknesses, right? So he knows whether we can, he knows whether we're going to be good at outside, inside zone, whether we're going to be good at gap power kind of concepts where you're pulling guards and tackles and tight ends or fullbacks or whatever. He knows what we can get away with in terms of that. So the offense, you know, football doesn't change. The offense pretty much it's football from team to team, from level to level. I would say, you know, not so much, you know, like youth football to high school. That's probably where football changes the most. But from high school to college, college to the pros, everybody's running the same thing. They're running inside, outside zone. They're running gap power concepts, or they're running zone concepts. They're running gap power concepts with counters, with tosses, with whams, with smashes, all that stuff. None of that stuff changes. The only thing that changes from level to level and from team to team is what you call it. And the SEMO keep is to keep, I'm telling y'all, this is my hill I'm dying on. The SEMO keep is to keep everything in place without transitioning the offense a whole lot, because I believe they wanted to lessen the learning curve or lessen the path to keep the train moving for the new offense going into the new season. So what do we have to do to make this transition? We want to fire the offensive coordinator. But what do we have to do to make this transition as seamless as possible? Oh, guess what? We like Simo. We like what he's done with the offensive line. Let's keep him the same. You watch this. This is the genius of that to me. You don't get this when you have a football, traditional football executive guy. You get this when you have two former offensive linemen in your front office as the GM and assistant GM. They say, okay, they understand that the offensive line is the engine to the offense. And if your offensive line coach has been good, he's taken a rookie 5th-round pick and developed him into a decent to good starter. You know what I'm saying? A good starter. He's taken this offensive line and kept it somewhat together over these last kind of like, terrible injury plague season, life plague season. He's done okay. So if I keep that stuff the same, then not just the relationship stay the same, the connection stays the same, but whatever Chris called, this in the run scheme stays the same. The communication stays the same, right? With the offensive line. Whatever he called, whatever he did in the past game stays the same. So he's responsible not only for the run stuff calls, but he also is responsible for the passing calls, the slide protections, the running back protection calls. All of the language, pretty much 70, 80% of the language is going to stay the same. The only thing Shane Waldron has to come in and do is slap his past concept on top of whatever Chris has already established, and we're off to the races. That's why I'm saying, and I've said, if we keep Justin Fields, I'm not giving Shane a long leash. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving them a whole season to figure this thing out, because I understand how those things work. I understand how things work behind the scenes, right? So you don't need, if all the language is staying the same, the only thing Shane is going to come in and do is teach his concepts. And by concepts, I mean like passing game concepts, right? So what are you calling? And he's going to teach he should be teaching his language for shifts and motions in the pass game, right? So give you an example. You might call the first thing you do is call on your call sheet is your personnel. Hey, 11 personnel, right? And you might want your base formation that you start your play out of to be, you might want it to be doubles, for example, right? So how you call your plays, you know what I'm saying, the players have to get used to. So you may say, what's going to stay the same is the personnel number. How you get to your formation that starts the play is not always the same. Like for me, I'll say 11 personnel, double, shift to ace right gun, Y off, ace right gun, Y off. So what that's telling my players is we're starting in doubles, but we're going to shift to ace right gun, Y off. Meaning you're going to show them one formation, you're going to shift to this, right? So 11 personnel, double, shift to ace right gun, Y off, right? Now I just shifted the formation to a totally different formation. Now I go into my motion. So I go doubles, shift to ace right gun, Y off, Z flee or Z fly. Now that's my motion. Fly is the motion the guy. Y'all already know this if you really think about it. Fly is sending the guy all the way across the field, right? All the way across the field. Flee is sending the guy the short motion, right? So all that language, Shane is going to have to come and teach that part of it. And then once he gets to how he calls formations, passing games, 11 personnel, double, shift to ace right gun, Y off, Z fly. Now he can call his concepts, right? And it's done one or two ways. This is all of football, high school, college, the pros. It's either done one or two ways. It's either he calls out a numbers combination for the routes, right? So he'll call 11 personnel, double, shift to ace right gun, Y off, Z fly. Numbers sounds like this: 9, 57. That means from left to right or right to left, I'm running a 9 route, a 5 route, and a 7 route, which is a go route, a out route, and a post, right? Or he'll have one word that means that tells the wide receivers that they are going to have to remember. And this is the difference between high school. Well, they do concepts in high school too. I don't, because I like to make things easier for players, but they do concepts in high school too. So this is the difference. They definitely do concepts in the pros, less numbers in the pros, more concepts. So they'll say, let's call the whole play I just described. 11 personnel, double, shift to ace right gun, Y off, Z fly, Florida. Florida is the concept. Florida may mean now, traditionally, Florida is FL. Think about this. Florida is FL, right? Oh, so it may be a combination of a flag, or what they call a flag pattern. Some people call it flag, and then an out. So the FLO will remind the wide receivers that we're running a flag. Some people call a 9 route a flag. That we're running a flag and an out. Florida. So Florida, and they'll put some verbiage or some rules in for the backside. So I know my first 2 routes is a flag and an out, and I have core rules for the backside routes, meaning this week the backside routes are going to run, they're going to run a post, and they're going to run a drag or sail route. That's all Shane has. I'm making it sound simple, but that's what Shane is going to focus on. But here's the thing, and I know it's a long explanation to a short question, but I love the question. That's why, and y'all know I'm a teacher, so a football schematics teacher. So, and I love this stuff. This is the part I love about football. So this is the part that Shane has to come and slap on top of what Simo already knows. It's a lot. It's a lot. But imagine this. Imagine if they took the offensive line coach out. That's just what I just did right there. That was just a play. That was just one play. Now imagine if I didn't say anything about slide protections or offensive line calls, right? I didn't say anything about run calls. That's a pass play. I didn't say anything about sliding the protection. I ain't saying nothing about when the center when they break the huddle after the call, and the center and the offensive line and the team runs up to the line of scrimmage, and the center has to point out the mic, right? 53 is the mic, 53 is the mic. And the center has to count the numbers to the right or the left to see the left, to see where the number's at and slide the protection to it. Oh, it's 4 to the left. It's 4 to the left. Lightning. Lightning slides the offensive line to the left, right? Now he's done. Now the quarterback has to see, after he starts his cadence, oh, you know what I'm saying? They're showing 4 to the left, but they're actually bringing 1 from the right. Okay, check. Check. 66, 77, which means 66 may mean, oh, we're going 6-man protection. That's telling the running back, oh, we're going to check over here. We're going to go to 6-man protection off this lightning. You have the guy that's blitzing off the right side. Or he may go 77, 7-man protection, keep everybody in. I ain't even got into all that yet, right? So Shane has to come in and slap all that on top of the run game. Imagine, if you will, Simo wasn't there. Imagine if we changed out the offensive line coach and the tight end coach, and you brought in new guys. Now Shane has to come in, and now Shane has to figure out, oh, okay, what are we calling when I'm in 12 personnel, not 12 personnel, when I'm in 21 personnel and I'm in pro right left, and I want to run a power to the third gap, 1, 3, 5, to the third gap to the left. When I want to run a power play from the third gap to the left, I want to pull a guard I want to lead up on the outside linebacker or defensive end with a fullback and pull a guard on the power play. What do I call that? You know what I'm saying? Do our numbers agree? Because guess what? In some offenses, they count the quarterbacks in their numbers backwards, right? So instead of they'll call it, like my offense, I call it 30, 30, 37 power, right? That's the third back, counting the quarterback, fullback, running back, 37. The third back through the 7 gap, power. Power is the blocking scheme. I'm pulling the guard. That means I'm leading up on the with a fullback, with the outside linebacker, defensive end, and I'm pulling the guard, power. Imagine if he had to come in and install all that. That is, see y'all, we got an 18 game season. I'll see this offense start executing the Brown between week 12 and 14. That's what that means. That's what that means to you as the fans. I'll see you around week 12 to 14. You want to see this offense start humming, both in the run and the passing game. I'll see you week 12 to 14. But because we kept the offensive line coach and the tight end coach, I'll see you between weeks 4 and 6. You better be clicking. You better be clicking. If I keep the quarterback the same, you better be clicking by week 6. If I would have changed the tight ends, offensive line coach and tight ends coach, I would have given him to week 12. That's what it means to me. Now, I don't always talk about all this stuff on the show because guess what? Sometimes, listen, I got to balance being, a schematics guy and be entertaining for y'all. I don't know if talking about all this stuff is entertaining to you guys all the time. So I don't get into all that stuff. I got a playbook right here. Everything I just described. Let me see if I got it up. And it would have took him, this would be a 3-hour show. That's where, when I say on this platform, I build my takes off of the schematics. That's what I mean. So I'm not just saying, I like Justin Fields. Because I like Justin Fields, I think we're running it back with Justin Fields. No, what I know, all that I described to you right now, that's me processing for you guys what I know about football and bringing it to the table and saying, you know what? We're keeping SEMO, we're keeping the tight ends coach. Usually you do have your tight ends coach is usually your tight ends and offensive tackles coach from a practice perspective, right? The tight ends and the tackles practice together because they have to work together. Their steps are different. Their kick steps are different. Their steps and their protection techniques are almost the same. Your interior defensive lineman steps and techniques are the same. So guards and centers are practiced together. Tackles and tight ends practice together. That's why they kept both of those guys. Why did they keep the tight ends? Because guess what? Guess who else has performed well in the blocking game? Who started out as a good blocker, but has developed into more of a receiving tight end for our football team? Cole Kmet. He works with those guys closely. So you keep the tight ends coach because SEMO's worked with him too and got him straight too. Even though I think he came into the league pretty decent blocking tight end, but still they're all working together. So I'm thinking about all this stuff when I'm coming up with these takes, and then, okay, all that remains the same. Boom, we go through the process. We hire Shane Waldron, who I was the top guy on many of our lists, but top guy on my list because he's the guy that actually did what Luke Getsy wrote on his resume that he could do but never pulled off. Somebody said that better than I did on another show. Shane Waldron is Shane Waldron is the guy we thought we were getting in Luke Getsy. I think is what he said. And I don't remember who I could quote for that, but if you in the chat, I think somebody said it in the chat on the show. Shane is the guy we thought Shane actually went and took less and overperformed. He took Geno Smith, that nobody thought that was going to do anything else ever in the NFL. Seattle knew something that we didn't know, because when Russ was in Seattle acting crazy, like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? I'm him. I want my own parking spot. I want my own office. And all. Pete was like, hey man, all right, we'll holler at you later. We all thought, especially when we played Seattle in the preseason a few years ago, we were like, bro, what is this, bro? Seattle finna be ass. And they came out of nowhere. So he took less and overperformed. I'm talking about from a quarterback perspective. Now, yeah, they got talented wide receivers. Shout out to by the way, this is another hot take for y'all. Be on the lookout. I don't know who it's gonna be. Don't be surprised if one of those wide receivers from the Seattle Seahawks, I don't care. It may be the no-name guy on the bottom barrel of the bench. Don't be surprised if one of those guys come over to Chicago from Seattle, because a lot of times the offensive coordinator likes to bring his guys, because guess what? You have a on the field coach and a player, because you can only teach so much from a coach's perspective, right? You're like, hey, do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but all the nuances and also the translation, the communication, it helps when you're teaching it, even from the classroom perspective or in practice. If you got a player back there that's, while y'all on the line going through drills, or y'all going 7-on-7 or something like that, when the player can also be a de facto coach and be like, hey, you know, coach is talking about it from a theory perspective. This is theory, but in all practical application, this is what I did. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, it's just not the route concept, right? It's just not the Florida concept that I called out earlier, the flag and the out. It's the flag and the out versus cover two. It's the flag and the out versus man coverage. It's that flag and out versus cover two's man, cover two zone, cover three match, cover five, cover six, cover eight. What did you do in all those situations? And to lessen the learning curve, it helps to have a player to sit there in the wide receiver. I started to call it the layup. Have a wide receiver that's been there, done that before, and say, hey, like Tyler Lockett. I would love for us to get Tyler Lockett for this very reason. I don't know how we would have to do it to pull it off, but if we got Tyler Lockett, just not from a performance standpoint, but even if Tyler Lockett, I don't know, Tyler Lockett might be 35 years old. I don't care. Ryan Poles sign him, because Tyler Lockett could come into this offense and not only give you a season two if he's at the end of his rope. I don't know. I don't pay attention to Seattle like that. But if he's at the end of his career, whatever, he could still come in, even if he retires a Bear, I don't care. He can come in, you know, and teach DJ, teach the young wide receiver how Shane likes this offense run, and he can walk them to and tell them, hey, in this situation, when we ran this Florida concept, this is how you have to sell a route. This is how you get away. Here's the nuances. Lean here, dip here, post your foot here, get out of your break like this, right back. He can come in and give those nuances detail, and again, shorten the learning curve so we can get this offense clicking and off to the races. That's a long explanation to a short question. By the way, it was a great question. So when it's that a great question, y'all know what we got to do with it. We got to put a bomb on it. Yep. Y'all know what, y'all get me started, bro, on this speaking. You know what I'm saying? When y'all get me in my bag, I'm gonna get in my bag. You know? I gotta cut the rest of them off. I gotta cut the bomb off. Okay, it was on repeat. Great question, man. Dang, I only got through like 2 questions, man. And you had me cooking like that. Rich Alone said, isn't that how St. Brown got here? Absolutely how St. Brown got here. St. Brown got here for the whole purpose. He's supposed to lessen the learning curve for the other players. The only problem was dude didn't know what he was doing, man. But that's you know what I'm saying? That's a thing though. That's a coaching ism, if you will. Richard Long Carter definitely has the physical tools to be a good center. Who you call? Y'all talking about center and all this other stuff. Richard Long says, will Waldron cure Fields' hesitancy in throwing? Bro, I'll give you the example that everybody thinks about when they talk about hesitancy throwing. I want to keep this comment close. I'll leave it up. I'll give you an example. Minnesota game. It's the infamous empty formation with with Kari Blasingame at the one, at the one position at the first read of this formation. That alone, man, should say enough about this conversation. All you need to know about where this is going. Kari Blasingame is at the one. Oh yeah, DJ's wide open. Just throw DJ to. Well, are we teaching the guy to go through his progressions, or aren't we? We gotta pick it. We gotta pick a choice, fans. We gotta stop the madness. Are we asking the guy to go through his progression to be a real quarterback, or are we not? We asking the guy to go up. Are we asking the guy to because here's the thing, you don't get to have it both as a coach and a player. You can't say, hey, go through your progressions on this play, right? But on this play, never mind the fact that I ran Kari Blasingame out to the first read. Just skip him and go straight to DJ Moore and throw that ball. I need to put a bomb on my own statement on that. You cannot teach it that way. You cannot ask a guy to read through his progressions on one play and then the next play, ignore your progressions, ignore the fact that I put Kari Blasingame out there on the number one corner, the number two guy, so the number one cornerback can ignore Kari and he can jump the route, or the man guard and DJ can jump them out. They get a 2-for-1 deal on that because of the formation and the personnel uses that. You cannot do that, bro. And I came out in this example, I came out weeks before because my friend Aldo Gaudia, I hope I pronounced your name right, Aldo, at Barroom Network that I'm on the show with, called this out. He asked me, he DM'd me, he said, Coach, what is this in this situation? This is when everybody sent that clip out on Bears Twitter and was like, oh, Justin's holding on the ball. He can't, he's freezing up. Some low life even said he's having a episode because of his epilepsy. I said this when Aldo asked me about it, and I said, listen, man, stop the madness. Stop the madness. Go back to what I just said about how play design works from a passing game perspective. Shane, 11 personnel. Okay. You call out the personnel because you got to win with your personnel first. Okay. Next, you try to compromise the coverage through shifts and motions. So we're going doubles. We're going doubles, the ace right gun, wide off. You got to win with your personnel. You got to win through, and then you have to expose the coverages through the shifts and the motions. What you're trying to do is get the defense to misalign, to get them. Watch this. If I shift from doubles to ace right gun wide off, that defense between that move alone that defense is going to show me something. It's going to tell something. And then I go motion. It's telling me a story before I even snap the ball. Right? So if I shift from ace right gun wide off, I go to shift from doubles, right? And I shift to ace right gun, they might go from, it may make them reveal whether they're spinning their safeties or not. Meaning spinning their safeties, meaning if they're showing single high safety and they're going to spin to a too high look, that shift may make them force them out of that look and reveal what they're doing. And then now I add the motion to it, the fly motion. And if a guy, now I say, okay, no, y'all tripping. Y'all not going to be in that. Y'all going to be in this. Okay, now we can play ball. Back to the Minnesota game. You run Kari Blasingame out to the one position. You run Kari Blasingame out to the one position, and you say, expect that cornerback to respect Kari Blasingame, a fullback. What is that cornerback in the NFL saying to himself in that moment? Oh, this guy number 35 that plays in the backfield that probably runs about a 4.6, 40, 4.7 is out here in a wide receiver one position. What am I going to do? Am I going to respect his speed and his ability to run past me? Am I 4.3, 4.4? Or am I going to sit on this route, ignore his route? Or am I going to help the guy guarding DJ? Because now I see DJ lined up to him. 9 times out of 10, that ball is going to DJ if he looks this way. I tell you what, I'm going to ignore Corey Blasingame. I'm going to jump this DJ route and try and get me a pick 6. This is what I said 3 weeks. 3 weeks before Justin Fields addressed it. I said all that to say this. This is how I'm answering your question. 3 weeks before Justin addressed it. Because after it happened, Justin got hurt, right? Justin didn't come back for 4 weeks, right? Yes. So the first question Justin got when Justin came back from that injury, from that play, was from Mark Partash. This was 3 weeks after I addressed it. This is what Justin said.
What do you remember about the very first play of that game where I think you were empty?
Yeah, cover 0. I was about to throw to KB, but I felt like the corner wasn't threatened by, KB speed. Every time you put a running back, fullback, or a tight end out at number 1 over a corner, he's not gonna think you're going deep on him. So I just felt him sitting on the route. So I didn't want to, potentially throw a pick on the first play of the game. But learning from that, I just gotta sail it over his head and move on to 2nd and 10. So.
In other words, Luke put me in a bullshit position. Luke called a bullshit formation, and I only had one choice. I either have to skip I had one of 2 choices. I either have to ignore my progressions that I was taught to throw, 1, 2, 3, 4, left, right to left in that situation versus cover 0, ignore my progression and just throw the ball to DJ, or I had to sail the ball over his head or throw a pick. He had 1 of 3 opportunities right there. And as an offensive coordinator, you don't even put your player in that position. You're supposed to give him solutions and answers, not problems to solve. You shouldn't be out there solving problems as a quarterback. You're not solving problems. You're just reacting to what you've been trained to do. Here's my progression: 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Or high to low, right? It's either right to left, 1, 2, 3, 4, left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, or high to low, 1, 2, 3. And you're out of there. With one, it's rhythm. With 1, you always throw that ball with rhythm. With number 2, you always throw that ball with a read. With number 3, you start to patch your feet. Number 3 is, y'all know. Number 3 is what? Y'all remind me in the chat. What am I always teaching y'all? Number 3, 1 is rhythm, 2 is read, 3, you start to patch your feet, mean get your feet busy. That means rhythm, read, rush, start to rush. And number 4, you get to 4, you rushing, you releasing that ball on the run. That's what you're taught to do. So to answer your question by teaching, will Shane cure his read issues? Yeah, Shane is going to actually put him in good positions and not put him in these dumbass positions. That's what it's going to boil down to. Here's the second part of that one. I want to break it down so it can forever be broken, so people can stop saying this stupid stuff, bro. Anticipatory throws. I don't care if you get JT O'Sullivan, Tim Jenkins, Chase Daniels, Kurt Warner. We all can have the same conversation. Guess what? I don't care if either one of those guys is on this show, because me and JT had a little exchange on Twitter X this week. I don't care. Y'all, people be acting like I care because they employ these names and it tag me with these guys and be like, oh, coach, look, in this JT comment, he said, bro, I don't give a damn if Bill Walsh said it. Football is football. Offensive football is offensive football. So anticipatory throws, which is this year's new catchphrase, it's almost like toxic masculinity. We come up with new shit every year. It's all right, cool. Watch this. I'm just going to describe it. If you want an example, it's on the Shane Waldron video. I broke it down because it pointed out to me. Or it was glaring when I did the Luke Getsy comparison to Shane Waldron video. it jumped out to me that Shane doesn't do the stupid shit that Luke Getsy does, right? Anticipatory throws. How do you cure that? You cure that by designing route concepts that have good windows, good windows. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all an example, right? I'm gonna give y'all an example. And it's just this simple. If I designed a window for your house, and all windows are pretty much rectangular in shape, right? If I designed a window for your house that was non-symmetrical, right? It had, it was corners sticking out here, and you know what I'm saying? It had no, it was just a customized window. It had no shape to it whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? The right side corner was over here, the left side corner was all over the place, right? It impairs your vision. It limits your vision, right? If I had a window where the middle portion of the window was narrow and the top and the bottom portion of the window was wide, you would think that was a stupid design, just in the practical sense of designing a window for your house. Same thing with football. If we're only limited in our vision and scopes by our peripherals, right? That's the window we can see in naturally. That window narrows inside of a football helmet, right? So say your peripherals start to get limited inside a football helmet, you can only see so much. Okay, so if I'm reading from left to right, my eyes are scanning from left to right, right? Wouldn't it be smart that the route concepts that I designed came into my windows naturally as I'm reading from left to right? Wouldn't it be smart that the routes I'm looking at, if I look from left to right, I can naturally have my eyes flow from here to there. Everything was coming into my window naturally, right? Wouldn't that be a great design? That would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, your boy Luke Getsy didn't do that. He would have this route going over here. He'd say, let's go with the Florida concept I described earlier. He'll have a flag and an out, and then he have his backside route over here, his third and fourth progression over there, doing some other thing that's not related to or connected to the first and second progression. And then it would look like a total shit show. And people are talking to me about anticipatory throws. How am I supposed to anticipate something that's not even anticipating itself? How is that? That is crazy to me. And that lets me know that people don't watch football beyond the live broadcast. Because guess what? If I'm designing a great route, if I'm running a Florida concept, I'm gonna have a flag and an out. On the backside, I'm gonna have a post coming to my eyes. So when I look, if you watch Bobby Slowick, if you watch CJ Stroud game versus who was that? The first playoff game where they won. It was so bad coming off watching our tape to watching CJ's tape. I was literally pissed off. I was pissed off watching it because when they showed the quarterback shot, over the shoulder quarterback, and what he's looking at, you can see the windows perfectly developing for CJ in a logical way that made sense. CJ, all he had to do was look here, no, yes, throw. You know what I'm saying? Or the playbook because you know what's coming. You have confidence in your offensive coordinator that all I got to do is ride my eyes and let the route come to my eyes. No, go. No, yes. Yes, no. You know what I'm saying? So you can ride your eyes and just release with anticipation because you trust your coordinator is putting you in great positions. It literally pissed me off to see that. Because guess what? I can't have these conversations with casuals and explain it in a conversation with casuals to say, bro, watch this. They're not seeing this on the live broadcast. These things, they're not watching. The casuals are not watching for this. 1, 2, ball out. 1, ball out. 1, 2, pat my feet, move my feet on 3, 4, I'm moving, ball out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing's there, scramble drill, directing traffic, ball out. See, everything for Justin Fields is 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing's open. Pat my feet. So I'm moving on 3. 1, 2, I'm 3, I'm moving. 1, 2, 3, I'm moving. 4, nothing there. 4, directing traffic. 5, got a beat off, shake off Myles Garrett off my shoulder. 6 seconds. Amazing play, incompletion or touchdown. That's how our offense is designed. That's how y'all get what y'all got. I couldn't explain it no better than that. That's exactly what happened with Luke Getsy. But no, with Shane, you're going to see 1, 2. You should see 1, 2, ball out. 1, ball out. 1, 2, read, ball out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 on the move. 4, I'm moving, ball out. You should see. It should require, and this is your job as a coordinator, I shouldn't have to overcome you on every play. Every play, I shouldn't have to overcome your call. 2 things is part of this. 1, did the call beat the coverage from the jump? Did the route concept beat the coverage from the jump? That's the first part. The second part is what I just discussed, meaning 1, 2, ball out. Because guess what? If the play call beat the coverage from the jump, then usually what's going to happen is on that first read, you're going to be able to throw that ball in rhythm. We're going to talk about this. I can't wait till my guest that I'm trying to have on after I get back from Mobile. I'm waiting on him to confirm. I'm waiting on him to confirm. Oh man, I just checked Twitter to see. I'm probably going to get a confirmation next week. I can't wait. If he confirms next week, when he comes on the show, that we'll talk about this together. Because if it's designed the right way, if I done my homework as an offensive coordinator and throughout the weeks on the first and second day before the players come in, if I looked at the film the correct way, I can say on first down, they always end up in this. They believe they end up in this 80% of the time versus this formation. This is what they run on first down. On second down, obvious pass situations, they always end up with this on 70% or 75% of their downs versus this formation. This is what they're going to be in. This is what they're going to end up in. Not what they're going to show. This is what they're going to end up in. On third and long, obvious passing downs, 75, 80% of the time, this is what they're going to end up in. If I did my homework as an offensive coordinator. So when first day install for the week, I'm talking to my quarterback and we're going through film. And I said, first down, just give them the sheet. Hey, first down, they always end 70, 75, 80% of the time they're in too high, cover 2 zone, this percent, and so on and so forth, all the way down to third down, right? You're preparing him. You give him the information. All right, cool. This is how they spin out of single high safety to 2 high safety and vice versa. This is what it looks like. They usually do it with this safety versus that safety. No surprises. It's like being in the military, bro. You train for combat. There should be no surprises in combat. It should be instant. It should be muscle memory, instant reaction, locate, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire maneuver and repel the enemy's assault in the combat zone. Ask me how I remember the mission of a Marine Corps rifle squad. That statement I just said. Ask me how I remember that statement from when I was taught in 1994 when I went to Marine Corps boot camp at Paris Island. It was drilled in my head. What is the mission of a Marine Corps rifleman? To locate, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire maneuver and repel the enemy's assault in the combat zone. How do I remember that? It's the same thing that goes for coaching. You prepare for combat before you get there. You give him all the information and you allow him to react. I guarantee you right now, if somebody runs in my house right now, I know exactly, and so does certain members of my family, They know exactly what to do. Instant muscle memory reaction without hesitation. Somebody getting blown down. Pause for YouTube. I'm telling you, this is how you coach football. Not, I leave you more questions and answers. Figure it out. Hey, I'm giving you the basic information. You can prepare for every scenario. You give as much information during the week. That's why when somebody asks me about, well, what is Janako? Janako should be, we having this conversation in the spaces. Well, what is Janako doing? Janako should be talking to him. I know I asked this as a setup question in the spaces for somebody that thought they knew football. And I said, do you believe that the position coach is coaching, the quarterback's coach should be coaching technique during the game? And he said, why not? Yeah. And I said, yeah, absolutely not. If you're on my coaching staff and you're the quarterback coach and you're coaching technique during the game and you're the quarterback coach, you're getting fired. That let me know you didn't do your job during the week. That's something either handled in off season or it's handled during the week where we're just polishing up. We're maintaining. We're just maintaining even during the week. I'm telling y'all, man. Listen, bro, it's more than meets the eye. It's Transformers. It's more than meets the eye. It's not what you see on Sundays. It's what you see on Sundays is the product. The process is what I'm describing. The process. How do we get there? How do you get to a call sheet? It's not the call sheet. It's not even the calls on game day. It's the process that you design as a coach to get you to the call sheet, right? Experience comes into play on how you call plays because you have to be in that position and have it done. Everybody thinks, and this is why people be like, you know what I'm saying? You're kind of arrogant, coach. You know where the arrogance comes from? Because guess what? I want you to be the one holding the call sheet. I don't care at what level, even at Pee Wee, even at youth football. I want you to hold the call sheet. I want you to pick a play, the right play, in 24 seconds, and you have all of the parents in the crowd, and they're looking at you. Everybody knows you're calling the play. And if you out there assing it up, you gonna hear about it. I guarantee you either gonna be good at it or you're gonna suck at it and hear everybody tell you about it. But when 100, when thousands, when hundreds, when thousands, when tens, when hundreds of thousand people, when millions even think they know their job better than you, you better be confident in yourself and what you do. That's where it comes from. If you're not confident, because guess what? You're gonna prepare harder. I don't want to let these kids down. I won't let nobody down. I'm going to prepare. I'm gonna work 12, 14, 16-hour days watching film, preparing my game plan. How do we get from 75 potential plays? How do we get from 10, 12 formations? Let's say 8 to 10. How do we get from 8 to 12 formations and 75 plays on Sunday in high school down to about 6 or 7 formations and about 35 plays? What's your process? That's what I'm talking about, man. See, this is the part that nobody will talk. Nobody wants to talk about. This is the part that you can't describe in a 5-minute video. Shout out to the ones that do that format. This is the one. This is not entertainment. This is not entertainment. This is education. Education is elevation. Research over me search. You know what I'm saying? This is the part that they don't talk about. So when I say, hey, I'm building my takes off of the schematics, this is what I'm talking about. I'm going through all these processes in my mind, but like, hold on a second. How does this work? All right, man. We kept the O-line coach, kept tight ends coach. Nah. Okay, that's my first tea leaf. All right, cool. If they bring old boy in, Waldron in, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? That's where my take came from. That's why I'm 85, 90% that we keeping Justin Fields. I'm standing on that, bro. I'm standing on it because I was able to, I'm logic. Now watch this. If I'm totally wrong, bro, guess what? Guess what? If I'm dead ass wrong, guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna tell y'all what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tweet out, well, I missed that one. I was wrong. What else is gonna happen? Oh, I'm gonna put on my blue and orange Matter of fact, I'm not probably. I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to do what I've done for the last 3 or 4 years that I haven't been coaching, that I've done every year. At least 2 games a year. I'm gonna buy a ticket in the 100 section, probably about either on the first row or 10 rows up, probably by the Bears tunnel, if it's a away game or a home game, where the players come out. And I'm gonna go to the game and I'm gonna cheer on the Chicago Bears. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh my, hey, I got it wrong, guys. I'm going to the game. That's what I'm gonna do. There's no skin off my back. Guess what's good? On the first of the month, guess what? Guess on the first of the month, guess what? And it's not a welfare check, by the way. On the first of the month, guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna get a check, a direct deposit from the with my name on it. And it's gonna hit on the first of the month every day, bro. There's no skin off my back, bro. Like, that's what I'm telling you. It's not that serious, but it's serious at the same time that, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to provide information. That's all it is. But anyway, I don't know how y'all started that soapbox moment, but I was glad to oblige. Either way, listen, I think we're gonna be good either way. I believe regardless of who, this is what Bears fans need to realize. And I hope we chill out going into February, do better in February than we did in January. February is next week. All right. This was Bears fans can rest assured in. Is news breaking while I'm on the show? Oh, no, they just repeating the same stuff. All right. We have 2 good choices, right? We are in the driver's seat. We can go either way and still be good. I think the path to good changes with one guy or the other, meaning Bears fans are going to have to be a little bit more patient with Caleb. And I know people will come out and say, no, I ain't going to be patient. Listen, if you want to be pig-headed on the issue, that's on you. I'm just giving you information that I think. If you trust my judgment, fine. If you don't, listen, man, it's all still cool. I think you'll have to be a little bit more patient with the young guy because that's fair. I don't think he's generational. So that's what it's going to call for the pay. He's going to need some development. You're going to have to be patient, but I still think we can get there if we have the right infrastructure in place for him, right? But I also think we can get there, and then we have one more bill year, 24-25 season. I think we can make a run in 25-26. I've been consistent. I'm serious. I believe we can make a playoff run, all things working out. We trade back, we fill in some of these holes, we get some established players again, and we fill in some of these holes and we make a run at it this year for experience. This is experience for the new coaches, the offensive coordinator, and the DC with these players, the first time head coach in this position, right? And these players being a football team and getting to know one another on an individual and from a player on the field perspective, right? They can make a run and like, all right, bro, you know what I'm saying? We did it. All right, we made a run. Disappointing. We didn't get to the goal. We didn't get the Lombardi. Cool. We got to know each other. I know who I'm playing against. I know his strengths, his weaknesses. Coaches know strength and weakness. All right, boom, boom. Just like Detroit did. Nobody, listen, and I'm included in this. Everybody was like, Detroit stupid. They drafted Jameer Grit. Everybody thought they knew what Detroit had in that building better than Brad Holmes did. Brad Holmes knew he was at the point of making the swing. He knew that roster is at a point where I can make a swing now. I don't have to draft what people say I have to draft. I'm in a position where I don't have positions of need. I get to draft luxury picks right now. So I'm drafting guys that are luxuries right now. Hey, coach, what are the luxury? Oh, I need me a quick twitch running back that's dynamic and young. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. I need tight end that can catch the ball and make play. Luxuries. All right, cool. Get them. Cool. And they're making their run. We're 2 years behind them. We have to fill in gaps this year play out the season, see where we are. We probably going to end up like they did. Not so much when they missed Green Bay, but we're going to probably be when they beat Green Bay and missed the playoffs. But we're going to probably make the jump straight into the playoffs, and then probably have a first, second round exit, and then our next year would be boom. All right, the Bears are in the conversation. If we do it the way I think they're trying to do it. That's just me. I could be totally wrong. I'm okay with that. But back to the subject, back on topic. I know Shane Waldron is a key piece of that puzzle. Question mark. More so, Shane Waldron is an exclamation mark. Eric Washington is a question mark. If I can simplify it, he's a question mark with trending towards exclamation mark. What makes me feel okay with Eric Washington is this. Matt Eberflus is there. Matt Eberflus can say, hey, look at the tape. Look at what these guys excelled at last year. Look at how I used them, right? And don't ask them to do a whole lot that they're not good at early on. When you come in, when you first start calling your defenses, just ask them to do things that you've seen they're comfortable with. Don't go too far off the rails then. And then slowly, remember I said this about Luke Getsy last year that I thought he should have did. And this should be a coaching ism for everybody. Ramp your guys up. Don't kick them off into the pool deep end right off the bat and like, oh, go swim. Ramp them up. So when you start out, start with what they did last year, Eric, what they did well, right? And then slowly ramp them into some of the stuff that you like to do. You know what I'm saying? If you want to bring our CB1s off the edge and, you know what I'm saying, straight up cornerback blitzes and, you know, I don't know. But slowly, listen, you can only do so much in football, bro. We can't reinvent this game. So whatever Eberflus showed him, you know what I'm saying, is he going to be like, all right, cool, gotcha. All right, coach, I got it from, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, hold my hand for about 2 or 3 weeks. Then from after week 3 or 4, okay, coach, I got it from here. Cool. Let me call my stuff. I got you. Boom. We good. The other part is I want Bears fans to be a little bit more be a little bit more lenient. I know we're hyper focused on perfection, but we need to be a little bit more lenient with these assistants, man. Like if it's not the quarterback coach or the wide receiver coach or the tight, we already got a tight, whatever position coach, you know what I'm saying? If he don't have this, you know what I'm saying, this long, super long resume and all these stops that you're familiar with from a position coach perspective, don't pay a whole lot of attention to that stuff. He's a position coach for a reason. He's building his resume still. You know what I'm saying? A lot been said about the quarterback's coach. That is a reason why he's a quarterback's coach. You know what I'm saying? He's building his resume. He's being mentored by Shane Waldron in this offensive system. So, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay didn't, you know what I'm saying? When they were in Washington, nobody probably could predict that, hey, Kyle Shanahan is going to have a coaching tree one day. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? This could be the beginning of the Shane Waldron coaching tree, and this quarterback coach and these assistants could be part of that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you should be doing. You should be building a system that people want to replicate. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take something from work that I heard. When you build great processes, you can hire average people in the great processes and they become extraordinary performers. Great processes. Watch this. This is how great businesses play chess and not checkers. Great organizations play chess and not checkers. You design great processes. You average, you hire average to below average workers and plug them into that processes, but you hire them for cheap and plug them into that great process, and then they overperform, and your profit margin always increases. See, the bad companies, he's basically coached everybody. You know what I'm saying? He's just been that dude in the quarterback coaching space for years. And he's a local guy, local to the city where I'm in. I'm just giving y'all clues as to who it is. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I respect him tremendously, and I'm business for you people. Oh my God. That's show business for you. Oh boy, that was funny. That was hilarious. Y'all got me so fired up, man. I talked the battery out. So guess what? We done the UAT testing right there. Shout out to y'all in the comments for helping me with that UAT testing. So we know this battery lasts just at 1:45, and I got to limit the show to an hour and a half. So shout out to y'all again. Stay tuned for these guests. But now I'm your boy Coach T for Chicago Bears 360. Until next time, I see y'all. I'm seeing some names in the chat. I'll talk to y'all soon. But until then, man, it's always chest up, beers up. Man, I had to run upstairs. I'm out of breath. And bear down, man. I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.